Oh, landmines and jellyfish. Welcome back to Knives I Guess. And I saw O.J. Simpson at a Circle K in Winder buying a case of Steel Reserve and some $1 scratch-offs. Anyhow, we're here today to talk about the Artisan Cutlery Proponent. And if you've been around for a minute, you know I love crazy stuff like this. And this thing I bought a while ago, and it's been on my wish list forever. And retail, this thing is $70. And because it was on sale and I had some Amazon points, I was able to get that down to $13 out of pocket. And those are American dollars. And I got this thing, and then I edged on carrying it for weeks. Just going all the way back to Temugeddon. And if you haven't seen Temugeddon, there's a playlist. I'd love if you checked it out. That was an interesting experience, and the results were fairly interesting too. But I've still got a backlog of stuff I'm working through, the things that came in while I was doing that. And I've been chewing through that week by week. And of course, a couple more things that come in because, well, I have self-control issues. And so I've just been edging on this thing. And when I got the O-knife, the GAR, that gave me an excuse to carry this because now I can edge on the GAR for a while. And this could finally get carried. And if you're new here, one thing to know about me. I love pocket cleavers. I love pocket swords. I love crazy overbuilt stuff like this. Like, it's in my wheelhouse. There's that, and then there's really small, slim, easy carries. And not too much in between. Like, I like normal knives, but my favorites are either overbuilt tanks or really, really easy, low-profile carries. You know, the stuff in between, I have tons of it. I carry tons of it. It's fine, but those are my favorites. So let's take a look at what we got here. And first and most important, the pocket clip is tip up, which is the Lord's carry. And let's flick the bean. You've got a D2 steel blade. You got G10 scales for the handle. This is a 3.48-inch blade, which is part of the reason I am so enamored with this thing. And you've got a screw that I don't have on hand. It's in the box that it came in somewhere in this giant pile of boxes from opening so many stuff, and I'm not kidding. Like, there's so many empty boxes piled up around here, it's not even funny. There's so much empty Amazon packaging, it's not even funny. But, so that screw goes in right here and locks the blade down and makes it the next best thing to a fixed blade. Like, it'll take a lot more abuse without the lock failing. But I will say, the liner lock here, it centers up really well. And the blade, when it's closed, is also well centered. Like, there's a little bit of tiniest ever bit of bias to this side right here, but I mean, you'd really be hard pressed to notice it. So you know, I don't have that screw on me because I don't carry it. I don't have room for extra accoutrement, and I have no reason to try to lock this into a fixed blade. You know, I'm in a very light use environment, and I'm a bit of a concrete cowboy. I don't spend that much time outdoors anymore. But I don't know if I covered this, but the listing said the recommended uses started with fighting. I guess if I get in a knife fight, this will be real handy. But, you know, I carried this for a full week, and I gotta say, it did fantastic. So the ergonomics on this, if you're new here, I gotta carry stuff tucked in the waistband. I gotta dress business casual at work, and I have zero space in my pockets for anything besides a big wad of keys, some vape stuff, and that's it. So these things ride in the waistband where I've got room and I can carry massive pocket swords in there and be just fine. But this one, you look at it and you'd think there'd be some kind of issues there, but no, it was perfectly comfortable. Like, I can't find much to complain about. The only gripe, and it's a small one, this thumb stud right here, both of them they're overbuilt to hell and back. And occasionally they get hung up on the inside of the waistband pulling it out, but a little bit too late in the game, I realized that this clip was generous enough to go over my belt and hang there with this little bit poking out of the top, the dingus end right here. It's not the lowest profile or the deepest carry pocket clip, but I will say in this case, the lack of deep carry on this made it a lot easier to pull out of the waistband, and this going over the belt made it go in a lot easier. I wear one of those thin nylon strap type of belts, so this thing, it had plenty of room for it, and it covered me quite nicely. If you saw the first impression video, you'll know, let's flick the bean. That's a big bean flick. But you know the factory edge was sublime out of the box, and it did fantastic at work. One of the primary things I do with this is I cut plastic wrap off of pallets that's saran wrap. And going through the middle where there's a few layers, most edges will go through it pretty well. If you got a good edge, it'll go through that. But when you get down to that single layer at the bottom, if you have any kind of dullness or any kind of edge problem, it's going to hang up and pull on that and tear rather than cut. And this thing, factory edge, just blew through it like I was cutting water. Like, it just went right through it. That for me is one of the marks of a great edge. And I had to cut sideways where there was no tension on the saran wrap, getting pallets separated a couple times. This thing went through that easily with no tension on it too, which is impressive. That almost never happens. And it cut so easily that it was really hard to control it. I couldn't feel the pressure, so the plastic would wad up right here in the choil, and I'd have to pull it back out and start the cut again. But, I mean, that is thoroughly impressive. I have had a lot of edges that were really good that couldn't quite handle that particular cut. And, of course, this blade profile I absolutely love. Like, this thing is aggressive. It's in your face. And when I'm not doing my normal cuts, like the second most common cut I got to make is dragging the tip across something. So this is fantastic for that. You know, and I really love where it looks like someone just sliced the end of it off really abruptly, which might be the Final Fantasy VII nerd coming out a little bit. But, I mean, this thing carried well. The ergonomics are fantastic. Like, the weight, the shock value of popping it out. Like, I had a few coworkers that had to do a double take whenever I popped it out and did that. So, yeah, I absolutely love this thing. It was well worth the wait. It was well worth edging on it. Like, it's a shame. I am so sad that I've got to see it go on the pile. Like, this is going to be the kind of sadness where you can't hear an amazing song the first time again in your life. Like, I'm also going through that right now with one. But I'm not going to get to carry this again for a long time because I'm cycling through so much stuff to review, and I'm so sad about that. I'm going to have to throw some cheat days in there and throw this in the waistband. And at some point, I'll go through all my pocket cleavers and show you guys what I have and, you know, why I have it. But if you've been eyeballing one of these things and you're ready to get it, I would say go for it. You know, if you're like me and you love your overbuilt tanks, by all means, go for it. I mean, this thing is a bit overbuilt. It's not like a PMP Alpha Beast or anything. It's not crazy, but it is a little bit overbuilt, and it's overkill for what I'm doing. But there's no kill like overkill. Let's be real with ourselves. So let's take a look at the factory edge as it sits right now. I never got around to that. I talked myself in a big circle, but yeah, I mean, that factory edge is phenomenal. Like, this is kind of one of the edges that I'm getting myself whenever I do my own sharpening, and this is kind of the goal for me learning how to sharpen with my equipment. You know, I don't freehand sharpen. I'm going to get around to learning that one day when I get bored enough. But with, you know, the precision adjust and the strops, and a good strop will get you a long way. Hoo boy. If you're new here, I've done a lot of work recently with learning how to set strops up and get the most out of those possible. So this is the kind of edge I like to see. You know, it doesn't have to necessarily be that fine of an edge, but once you get up into like the $70 range for your price, it better be a good edge. And this paper right here is notoriously hard to cut. It's old, it's picked up moisture, like it doesn't like being cut, but like this is cutting it, but you can see like that copy paper was stupid easy. This paper just hates being cut. I thought I'd get a nice clean zip through there. I really did, but yeah, when it cuts, it cuts. It's just this paper. I don't know what it is, but that paper's stupid hard to cut. So yeah, this is my experience with this thing, and I'm going to give it a solid like 9.5 out of 10. You know, there's always something small that can be improved. In this case, the detent could be lightened up just a touch. Like, it feels like something you should be able to flick off with a fuller, but you cannot flick this off with a fuller. The thumb studs also take an ungodly amount of pressure. Like, they're doable, but they take so much pressure that I'm scared I'm going to skip off of the thumb stud and hit the edge. So I don't use the thumb stud, but the flipper tab does a great job, and that strong detent does mean I can be pretty fearless about it. I'm not worried about it partially deploying in my pocket or my waistband and stabbing me like the Best Techman Dundee did. So yeah, 9.5 out of 10. Fantastic knife, fantastic experience. And that's what I've got on this before I'm just holding you guys hostage. Another live stream will be coming up soon, and if you haven't checked one of those out, I'd love it if you showed up. We do Cardboard Slayer testing edge retention, and I get to hang out and shoot the breeze of you guys. You know, half the reason I do that is to hang out with you guys. So, check one out when you get a chance. But yeah, and subscribers, oh my god, you guys are rolling in right now. Like, I think 15 or 16 people showed up in like the last day and a half here. I cannot articulate how grateful I am for that. We're getting closer and closer to that 1,000 subscriber giveaway, and we got one of my favorite budget knives I've ever found. And we got a couple of G10 knife kits that you put together yourself to throw in there. So that'll either be one winner or three winners, probably three. But either way, just wanted to get that out there. But all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, thank you so much. I've already said it. Comments, I love some feedback. If you got one, let me know what you think about it, or if you're thinking about getting one, or anything else, really. Yeah, but y'all have a nice day.